Weird hand wavy thing. Welcome to a new episode of Before the Cape, where we're here to talk about the special episode called Hourglass, episode 6, season 1 of Smallville. And let's get right into it. It's an exciting episode to talk about. Some interesting things to talk about this episode. But you know what? Let's get right into it, everyone.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and back behind that intro, we were just busy applying the last of our makeup. That totally all of us did very quickly in 30 seconds. Great to see everyone back though for a new episode of Before the Cape. Before we get into it, I want to remind everyone: smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know, I'm close to 200 subscribers, which is cool.
Yeah.
I'm at 189 at the moment of this live, and so
Nice.
if you're watching, thank you.
I think I am.
You're on the show.
I wouldn't think
Let
so.
me check. You go on with the thing. I'll check.
Ian's like, oops.
Could be 190 in a minute.
I was gonna say, we have talks about stuff I've done before, and I thought you watched it before.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Now that I think about it, I wonder if I'm subscribed.
Oh, hey, you now have 190 subscribers.
Anyway, we are now 10 away from 200. You know, month and a half, and until 2026. We'll see if make it a Christmas present. See if I can get up to 200 by Christmas in a little over a month. So that'd be cool. I'll start campaigning on that. We'll start making a big online campaign and everything for that, because
campaigning.
So anyway, great to have you all here for a new episode of Before the Cape. Before we get into it, something I want to say is that Andrew, you were with me just a few hours ago, as we recorded a new episode of the Long Halloween comic dub or comic read through, whatever you want to call it.
A lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. Went a lot smoother the first time.
I voiced, what was his name? Solomon Grundy.
Yeah.
And
Really?
Yeah.
And then what was it? Carice?
What was her name? It was the person Nicole voiced mainly.
Yeah. For some reason they're like, you do that. And then I voiced one of the...
You tried the voice and you're like, oh, you're perfect. Go for it.
Yeah, they're like, try it as a joke, and I did, and they're like, all right, good enough. And then I was one of the henchmen, Danny Boy, I think.
Yeah, each of us had the henchman. It worked out nice with it being a smaller issue. I mean, I say a smaller issue, but it's a normal length issue that we did it so that every person had 3 roles. So the 3 roles I took this time were the same 3 roles I had last time, actually. But it worked for me.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, it was good. It was fun times. So check that out. Thanksgiving, something that I want to pimp that stuff as much as I can, just because that's an awesome project. You don't see everyone do these comic read-throughs and stuff. So, but anyway, we're not here to talk about Batman. We're here to talk about Superman. Well, kind of, because he's technically not Superman yet. Although Lex Luthor is Lex Luthor now, for what that's worth. So, this one is an interesting episode to delve into just by itself. I would say this one has a bit more than your average episode to probably talk about. This episode being Hourglass. So, I guess before we delve into specifics, was there any overall, thoughts that we wanted to share about the episode? General thoughts about this episode?
I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I liked that while it was very much another villain of the week, there was more backstory. I felt like with the character, with his kind of his origin and who he was, and I thought that was interesting. And then of course with Lex, he really starts to he's kind of shifting a little bit. He hasn't fully shifted to mastermind Lex yet.
Yeah,
but you see his suspicions with Clark, specifically with the lake with the car.
Yeah.
You can see that is growing a bit. And
I mean, I like that with like every episode with Lex, you're kind
Mhm.
of getting another crack of,
yeah,
more of him being a little bit closer and closer to that Lex Luthor that everybody knows,
Mhm.
building towards that
Yeah.
traditional, I don't know, Gene Hackman Luthor or
very much. Yeah.
whoever else. I'm trying to think. Was he really the only main Lex Luthor we got on screen by the time this came out? I don't think
Kevin
was that. That didn't come out for
For
another couple
Christopher
of years
Reeves,
ago,
it was
right?
Gene Hackman, and then I
Yeah.
think Kevin Spacey played him in Superman Returns.
But I don't think that came out for another couple of years after this, or 3 years, right? Wasn't that like
that was during
Yeah, that was after this.
season 5 or 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
Depending
thought,
on when
because
it was
that's a 2005 release.
But
That's
I would say,
actually
like, so for my Lex before Rosenbaum, and speaking of Rosenbaum, is my Lex.
Sure.
Like, he's
yeah.
the epitome of Lex for me.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But before him, it was actually the animated guy.
Oh yeah,
the
he
one
does a
from-
great job too.
Yeah.
From everything I've seen of that.
So whenever I'm reading the comics, I actually hear that guy's voice. in my-
I mean, that's the thing, is like anytime I read a Batman comic, I Kevin Conroy, Joker, Mark Hamill, it's typically those animated voices. Which is funny, we're talking about Michael Rosenbaum. He voiced Flash in one of the Justice League, or maybe it was both of the Justice League series. He did Flash.
He did, yeah.
So, yeah, cool bit of how he got to play a hero and a villain, both big characters, very much so. So that's cool. I would say, obviously, I'm very early on. I could see, like, I'm already loving Michael Rosenbaum as Lex, even though I'm only 6 episodes in. If I had to rank them right off the bat, I would say he's maybe my second favorite as of now.
Who's the first?
The newest one. Nicholas Hoult, I think, did.
Yeah, he was really good.
I looked at that Lex and I'm like, oh, I don't know why his Lex in particular I wasn't sure about going into the movie. Like, he was one of those aspects I was unsure about going into the new Superman movie.
He doesn't, like, I haven't seen the movie yet, but
You need to watch it.
like,
I tell you all
from
the time.
other stuff I've seen, it like, he doesn't scream Lex.
No, I think that's
But
part
in
of
the
my
movie,
problem.
yeah,
He does
in the movie, he's
a
great.
fantastic job. He legit does feel like Lex Luthor ripped straight out of a comic book, which is why I loved it. Welcome in, James, saying "Somebody save me." Yeah, exactly how that goes. That's how he comes in every time.
There you go.
Make sure catch these episodes live. Interact with us. Anyway, let's. I guess it's about time to actually talk about this episode in particular. We get, so let's see here. Before the villain itself, what did we get into? We do get set up. Some of these. What is her name? This Cassandra. I gotta say, I really liked her character. She is one of my favorite side characters I think that we've seen thus far.
Really good actor too.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the actress, but like
I'm not either. But I just thought, she did a really good job.
Yeah, she absolutely did. I thought she absolutely nailed this role. I really enjoyed it, and so like she was like such a good side character. I really liked her, being this sort of fortune teller.
She was very much like the core of the episode. Like almost everything that happens is because of her. So
yeah, in some way,
for the most part, not, you know what I mean. Like Clark gets sent. He knows to go to this place is because of his interactions with her. So.
Yeah, we'll get to that. His interaction shortly, which that was a cool scene. And I think there's some different ways you could interpret it even beyond this episode, which is interesting. And so, but we get him and what's his name? Can I never remember this guy's name? His friend's name? Pete. I'm terrible with names. Why am I the one in charge of the recap here? Because I'm running things. I know. Well, like, I'm terrible with names. You
don't have to remember Lana's boyfriend's name this episode. He wasn't in it.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't.
Exactly.
I don't remember his name either. You're right.
It's Whitney.
Whitney. Oh.
Oh my gosh. Anyway,
What's next? He's gonna be like, "Who's the main
let's start
character?"
with this.
Oh,
what's the
Lex.
name of this person right here?
Carl.
Carl.
Yeah, Carl. That's right. It's
Carl
it's
Kent.
Carl before he's
Carl
Superboy. Yeah.
Oh.
It's part of why we love you, though, Spencer.
The one name I can remember is Lana's there. We get our introduction to the villain of this episode, who's help me out. Last name I need help with.
I actually can't remember the villain's name.
Volk. It's like Volk
Is it?
or something. It's like Henry Volk.
Oh,
Harry Volk.
Henry. Okay.
Is it him?
All right. Now, is that his real name or his fake name?
So his
Harry.
real name was Volk.
His name is
His
Harry.
last name. Because he had a different one that he was going under. But when Chloe did like the digging on him, that's when she. So
I'm seeing him here referred as Harry in a
Harry. Okay,
a
that's
recap.
Okay.
So Harry is his name.
Mhm.
I swear I rewatched the episode.
Yeah.
Today, even, I think.
I finished it up today. I actually watched most of it last night.
Oh, okay.
But
But apparently it put him to sleep. So how much did he like the episode?
Always. That's just a Spencer thing.
Exactly.
If I
Instead of
fall
powering
asleep
through
during
the last
something,
10
it
minutes,
means
he's
that
like,
I
"Eh."
probably don't like it.
Listen, prime time for me to watch some things is when I sleep because I'm going to sleep because that's when I'm not gaming or reading.
There you go.
So anyway, we see Lana take him out onto like what is this like a pond walkway sort of
Yeah,
thing.
it's like a bridge. By the way, Lana, look, your character, she's doing her community service. When he asked for his scarf, you don't leave him. Like he's an old gentleman. Like, what if something were to happen? Like,
I don't know. I think
I mean, I wasn't thinking he was gonna fall over into the water, but even then, like, unless it's like a closed-in space, what if he was like freedom and just took off? Like, just kind of think of those things.
you gotta be careful with those senile old people.
Exactly. Don't believe the act. So,
And how convenient when you look at this too, that where she leaves him at is the one place on the dock where there's no railings, or the walkway where there's no railings at
I
either.
know.
You look at it, there's railings on the other side, this other way. No, it's just this one place where he stopped it.
Awfully convenient, yeah.
I know, right? But anyway, with this though, it is interesting because we talked a little bit about it last time, how we're seeing this sort of similarity with all these villains that kryptonite's a little more than what we think of it. It actually affects people a bit more to a stronger level, or more level to give them superpowers. Where in this case, when he turns into his younger self here,
yeah.
Science,
I mean, obviously it was
Exactly.
effects from back then, but I felt like that was a really bad. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't as bad that time. I guess after
I thought it was pretty good. The
first time I
lightning,
rewatched it or watched it, I was like, that doesn't look good. And then after I looked at it again,
I
it's
do
like
think
not as bad as I remembered it being. So I don't know.
This is not a very good like nursing home or assisted living place, because he just like puts on like the scrubs and it's not suspicious at all.
Yeah, like,
Unless-
no one's like, who's the new guy?
Yeah, exactly. No one came up and was like,
No.
I don't
Especially
recognize
in
you.
a small town, like,
Yeah,
people would immediately be all like, who are
Who
you?
are you?
You don't
Yeah.
work here. Where are you from?
Exactly. And
But
you would
also,
think even
I
like
mean,
the patients.
maybe it did happen. We just didn't see it. Like, one of the
True.
things, like, I really liked this guest actor.
Mhm.
Like, the previous ones we've had have been fine, but like last week with the cool guy, like, I didn't think
Cool. What'd you say?
But yeah,
Oh,
I didn't
he's
think there
got-
was. Oh, he's taking a shot.
Or even like the Tina girl was just like,
Yeah,
eh.
but this guy, I thought he was really good at playing alternately
Mhm.
terrifying, but also really charming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he could have easily
That's true. He could have charmed his way.
Charmed his way into that. Yeah.
He was great. Like I was thinking about it. I do think of all the villains I've maybe gotten of the 6 so far, I think he's probably my favorite so far.
Mhm.
Like I think he has been the best that we
I
got.
have more to say about that later. I would say it now, but it's near the end of the episode, so.
Yeah.
Well, like this is an example of I don't mind the villain of the week episodes when it's like this, where like we get more of a lore into the character, and so you can kind of not necessarily connect with them, but like you get a bit more of a better understanding of their motive and where they're coming from.
Yeah, I definitely really liked like the way he was built into it. You know, I think it was last week I kind of brought up like, you know, there's only so many people that they can go into that like people that are necessarily close to the main characters and the way they're using them for, you know. And this one was, you know, they figured out a cool new different avenue than, you know, childhood friend or coach or
not someone at their school.
Someone, exactly essentially,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And
watch
so,
it be the janitor one week.
I don't think there's ever a janitor for that.
Well, then I'm done. I can't watch it anymore.
But speaking of this idea that their school requires 30 hours, is it just 30 hours? But
yeah,
it's
30
like
hours.
It's like certain amount of hours of community service. Like
it was 30. Yeah.
I wonder if some schools actually do that, because it definitely wasn't a thing at my school.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Andrew, your community service was doing the dishes, so
exactly. Oh, it still is. It still is.
Yeah. Did you have anything like that at your school, Spencer?
Any sort of like community service thing?
Yeah, like a requirement.
Oh no, not a requirement. I was trying to think if there's anything else you could have gotten into. There might have been like a thing here and there, but nothing I was into.
Okay. We did go to a retirement home at one point as part of our school, and we did like meet them, and we read to them and played like card games and stuff with them. But it wasn't a requirement. It was just like part of.
I don't know about you. Well,
when I was
go on.
Sorry.
No,
I was going to say, when I was in elementary school, there was like an assisted living place like right across the street. So we would go at like Christmas time and like sing for them and stuff. But again, that wasn't like community service or like, all right, you got an A. Like it was just we just did it. So
it was nice.
I was gonna say, I think at least how the public school system is now, there's not a lot of fun stuff that really happens anymore. I feel like, unfortunately, you know.
I have no idea what they do in school anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm kind of relating to the villain from this episode.
Exactly.
It's like I need to find a koi pond with some meteor rock in it, and I can go back in time.
Yeah, the only cool thing I ever got to do at school was going to like a Japanese place, like one of my Japanese classes. Other than that, it was like nothing exciting.
Wait, a Japanese place? You went to Japan?
That wasn't okay. That not part of my Japanese class. So like that was an actual like paid thing that I went as part of like a like a travel agency thing. It's a place called or a company called EF Tours, where it's like an actual educational book tours and everything is like all laid out for you and everything that you go through. They give you some like a couple of like hour pockets here and there for you to like go around and do something, or like an hour thing of being like, hey, here's an hour, go out and explore or whatever, you know. But like that was a thing that wasn't part of that Japanese class. I actually did that the summer before I started taking Japanese classes, or the spring before I started taking Japanese classes, because it was a high school thing.
One thing I did find
in high school. Sorry, go ahead.
My high school was one of the very few that did. At least in the state, like a very small amount did. But
I assume that was pretty hard to learn.
I sucked with it, but that's because I honestly didn't give enough like effort into it all the way. The thing about that makes Japanese hard isn't necessarily the language. Their language structure and syntax actually is among the easier side of languages.
Oh.
The reason of what makes Japanese hard is because they don't have just one. They don't just have just two, but they have 3 different writing systems that they use. Or alphabets, I guess. Well, 2 alphabets and then a whole other writing system, which is just confusing. Which, like, if you're to study Japanese, it's a lot of getting into that stuff. But that's the reason why it makes it harder is because you have to know those three. Now, one thing that makes it slightly easier nowadays is you don't have to remember exactly how to draw all the symbols or write all the symbols because so much is digital now and whatever. But anyway, I digress. That was a massive side tangent. We're here to talk about Smallville.
I did like that, and I know we saw this last week with Cool, but where the where the effect on the villain didn't last. Like they had to go and kind of recharge. Because he switches back in the episode, we see him go back and fall into the pond again and then switch back. But it seemed like it lasted for a good while, like a couple days, it looked like, maybe.
The first time it did. The second time it seemed to only last a few hours, but that's because he...
Yeah.
So his body was just reverted at that point.
Yeah. I didn't quite enjoy him as a villain. You mentioned earlier about his this person's acting was good. You know, maybe part of it is because he was like one of the few times I've actually had an older guy as a villain than just some teenager, you know, that was there for a few days to shoot these or whatever. Obviously another case of kryptonite having the effect on them. And so, but anyway, as we go, one of the other things that we got in this episode was we got some discourse between Clark and his parents that actually came up a couple times during this episode, which I thought those were some other good character building moments as we went into this. Like this was a really good episode, I think, just in general, since we got a bunch of things.
I gotta say something about the Kents, and don't get me wrong, I understand where they're coming from with reassuring Clark about the lady and everything, but with everything that's been going on lately in Smallville and all the run-ins that Clark has had, and even what the Kents had last week with the Cool kid, if Clark is coming and saying, "Hey, this lady is predicting the future, quote unquote, or seeing the future," you would think they would maybe believe him a little bit more. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
I think they believe him. They don't believe her.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because I know they did say, yeah.
Also, as we see with them, like you would think, like, this person could be a great resource for Clark. But as they said, like, they're like, you may think that your thing is protecting other people, but our job is to protect you. So they are always thinking of everything as, could this potentially harm him? Could this potentially expose him?
That's a good point, yeah.
And then what would happen? Because as we already know, like, one of their greatest fears is that Clark would get taken away.
Yeah.
Like, they know he can't be, like, physically hurt overall. But he could be taken. So I do get, I get that they're always on guard.
Don't want this to be a Flashpoint reality. You all are familiar with that story and what
I am
goes through in that. Anyway,
I'm familiar with the CW's Flash version of the story, and I hated it. But we're not talking about the Flash.
No, we're not.
Fortunately, we're not. Yeah. Yeah, this old dude's still creepy in his old age because he has all the newspaper clippings underneath his bed. I was like, geez, dude, whoa, interesting hobby there.
Yeah, one kind of thinks, like, because he came back, like, we don't really know how long he was in jail, but he was convicted and sent to jail. And now he's come back, like, but he's in this, I mean, he's quite old, he's wheelchair bound. So, like, what was his plan? Like, why did he come back? Is it just because, like, he can't let go of the past so much that he's just like, where else am I gonna go? I'm gonna go here and just hold on to what that was. Even though one would think he couldn't do anything about it until he finds a koi pond with meteorite. So.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
Yeah, I think he got even more, like, stubborn too as he got older and was just like, I'm not, I don't know. but he was content, I guess, with staying. Because I know Lana said that he returned to Smallville, and that's because Clark was like, "Why was no one suspicious of him?" And she said people just thought maybe he was coming to just spend his final years Smallville, I guess. But yeah, it is interesting.
Well, I just assumed it was kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, he was so old, I guess he got released to be just watched over in a nursing home, you know. He was at the county jail and now he's at the county nursing home or something like that, you know. So that's how I
be
interpret
kept
it.
in a county jail for like 90 days.
Yeah.
Just
okay. Okay. What your point is though, idea of being in a jail and long term and then being so old having to move out or something, you know. Maybe he's good enough long enough to in the jail to get
it's familiar enough that he was like he'll just go back, you know.
Something. Yeah, I don't know.
I do think though that's one of the reasons again why I really like this episode. I really like episodes where there is a theme that links the main story and the stories of all the characters, and definitely this one was about you know, holding on to the past, and some people holding on to the past so hard and just, you know, living in that, and some people choosing to let it go and move forward, not let what has happened or what's happened to them define them, and be able to move forward and be something else. So I really liked how everything was linked with that, with Lex, with Clark, with Lana, and with the main villain here. Like I was talking to this episode. I was talking to my mom about this episode earlier, and she was like, "Yeah, this villain, gets a second chance at life, basically, because he de-ages and like no one would know who he is, and he could have something new, but he decides to hold on to that past and use his second chance to get revenge."
Yeah, because part of his motive was his teacher recommending someone else for the Metropolis music observatory thing, and your point with the second life is he could just start playing the piano again and try out again, and I'm sure he would have a shot. I did like that scene at the torch with Lana and Clark when she's talking about her perspective on everything. You know, that everyone basically knows her as this girl that lost her parents in the meteor shower, and how she's basically saying that she feels like that's all she'll ever be. You know, so it was nice getting that kind of personal side with her and with Clark. So
although he still feels guilty.
Yeah.
Like
he even felt
wasn't
guilty
his
with the old
fault at
lady
all.
too, when she says it wasn't your fault, and he was kind of like, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't.
No,
but
it wasn't. But
but it just like
it was it was his parents' fault for sending him. You know, so
well, I mean,
no, I'm kidding.
But this is something I wanted to ask you about, Spencer, and you, Andrew. I don't know how well versed you are with the comic books, Andrew, but
not nearly as well as Spencer.
Okay, so I did want to ask, is this show like the first instance of like having, because like all the other ones I know about, it's just Clark's ship that crash lands. But like this one, like there was chunks of the planet that came with him and rained down chaos. Like, is this the first time doing that with the story, or did they do something like that beforehand? Or?
I remember when we did our first episode of this, I think I mentioned that I don't remember seeing it. I haven't seen an interpretation with the debris, which is like a cool new way to do it, you know?
Okay.
And so, yeah, no, I don't remember them ever doing anything like, I haven't seen them do anything like this. I don't know if they ever have. But to my knowledge, that's not a thing that they've done. At least according to at least according to what Man of Steel did, you know, like that's, I think, Well, I as far as I know, the main origins that you can look at, like with Superman in the comics, is there's the Man of Steel comic, John Byrne's Man of Steel. Then you have I don't remember what came first, if it was Jeff John's Secret Origin. I think it was Secret Origin, and then Mark Waid did his Birthright. None of them had anything like this though.
Okay.
So, but yeah. So, speaking of this villain and stuff, we, we're talking about his motive. Is like his motive was, I don't know, interesting, because it's like it's one of, something where I think a lot of people struggle with, of not being able to let go from the past, and it's one of those things that you look at it and be like, well, maybe it is. Maybe you could feel like it's kind of flawed, just because it's like, you'd be like, why don't you just live your life somewhere else if you've been talking? But like, obviously, it's not always easy for people to carry on, and so I don't know. Is it one of those things where like you think the motivation worked? Did it work for you?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's just the one that's really petty.
He's the petty. Yeah.
He holds a grudge.
Yeah. I don't know. I did find it interesting that he was, he was going after like all the sort of, anyone related to,
like a
I don't
The
know.
child or the granddaughter.
But at the same time, though, they set him up as a serial killer, and the moment he had a chance, he continued to be a serial killer.
And he pretends to be like all these different like jobs, like with the gas leak.
Yeah, I'm a
or, like,
technician.
I'm a technician, and
Good
that
at
first
that.
guy was but I liked how Martha didn't just like let him in. She wasn't just like, oh yeah, sure, come in. She like stood her ground for a minute, was like, I don't smell any gas. Of course, he finds his way in, but the other guy was just like, sure, come in. My
Yeah.
electricity's out.
That is another thing about like a lot of small towns. They're very welcoming.
Of course.
And they do let people in, and don't lock their doors and stuff like that. But I mean, there is a very big difference between the first guy and Martha. Is
Right.
that Martha is a woman alone at home.
Yeah.
Now that's not to say that Martha can't handle herself.
No, but it's like normal
But as a woman,
intuition.
she's going to be much more on guard with a guy that just shows up at her house and wants to come inside. So
yeah,
but she's very smart. And
I really don't blame the first guy, because his power does go out. It's not like his power was still on and the guy was like, oh, we hit a circuit, like, so I could see him.
Again, the guy was very good at it.
Yeah.
He is very charming and just very genial, easy to talk to. So yeah, I'd be manipulated by him too.
Yeah.
So hopefully I wouldn't have any relation to anyone who ruined his life.
Screwed him in the past. Yeah.
But I did want to say that with him and with Cassandra, so he was obviously a bad person way before he fell into a koi pond. So this was like the first person that we can be absolutely sure that it wasn't the meteor rocks that made him this way.
Yeah.
And Cassandra has had these abilities for 12 years to see the future. Like she hasn't used it to be evil or use it for the wrong purposes. I mean, even 12 years ago, she still would have been quite old. So, but still, she could have maybe not won the lottery, because like her ability is quite abstract. Like when she sees something, it's not like, other than like Pete with his keys, like whenever we saw her visions, they were like really abstract, and like you would have to like interpret them. And if you don't know the person personally, you might not be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into those visions. So I guess now's a good time as any to get into those, because I did love her. Cassandra was great, awesome. And we get into it, and we have some awesome, really interesting visions. The first one is when she does it with Clark, and we seeing these, this is right. I don't remember if she gave him the warning before or after.
It was before. It was
Okay.
right at the beginning of the episode that she said what she said. Yeah.
Right. Because I was driving Clark through the whole episode of someone close will die to you soon. It's one of those things that's very, I think in this case she was referring to, I assume, herself in this episode.
Yeah, because she actually wasn't touching anyone.
Yeah.
So, but
because it's one of those things of where when she said that, and when you think about it, the face value of that, of if you of that statement to me is when you think about it and who's close to Superman. As we all know, Jonathan Kent dies at some point, so that was like the first thing.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like,
spoilers. I'm out.
Spencer.
Oh, terrible.
Ruin the show.
That's like the first real person close to Clark Kent that dies at some point. Yeah, but obviously, it's one of those things of saying, is it going to happen sooner than later in the show? Although it does feel very early,
Yeah, this would have been.
I feel like that's one of those things that must have happened. They'd want to do it at least a few seasons down. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But obviously, point is, I'm saying that is one of those very important parts of Superman's life, or Clark's life, either on his journey of being Superman or to become Superman. It kind of depends on the iteration you're talking about of when it kind of happens. Sometimes it happens when he's in the beginning years of Superman, or sometimes it happens before he becomes Superman, just depending on the iteration you're looking at. Christopher Reeves does it before he became Superman.
Yeah,
it was when he was
a lot older than that one.
Yeah. So, you get a bunch of variations of that.
Even Man of Steel did it while he was before he was Superman.
Yeah.
But it is true, like, if you're watching this from an outside perspective and like as just a fan of Superman, and this is a common thing that Mr. Kent bites the dust. You would think you wouldn't know if it's going to happen, or when it would happen. And so like with this, you're like, oh, she says that, and it's like, okay, are they going to do it right now? Are they going to do it this soon?
Yeah, like I was like, there's no way they're doing it, and not this episode, not just like 7 episodes in, it's like, or not 7.
Are they kicking off one of the Dukes of Hazzard already?
Yeah, exactly. Well, even a season 1 thing, like I just feel like that would be like,
yeah, it feels too early, knowing that this is this 10 season.
Don't get it. Here's the thing: they're gonna get us attached to Mr. Kent, and then be like, boom, he's gone.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things of where it's like it'll be there. He'll be there for a while, and it's going to be one of those most depressing moments of the entire show when it happens.
I would say that since he's doing like conventions and stuff, like specifically highlighting this character, that actor, that he probably would have lasted more than 7 episodes on the show. But I've actually seen several conventions of things where an actor who only did 1 episode of a show like bases their entire fame around that, and they do like convention circuits just
that's crazy
character. So it's possible, but luckily we don't lose him in that
not yet, thankfully. So that then brings up to the second point of this, right, of what it really means beyond where kind of like my mind first went there, which is of when you think about it, Superman's one of those characters, he cares for absolutely everybody,
and we see that really well in the new Superman. Not just to compare
that is what I love about this new version of Superman, is it shows that part of him so much that he cares for every single soul, no matter who or what it is. As we see in the trailers, he saves a freaking squirrel. That perfectly embodies that perfectly embodies the character of who Superman is, of how he wants to save absolutely everyone and everything, you know, no matter if they're human or not. And so, see, you need to watch it, Ian.
Yeah. He saves the squirrel so Crypto can eat it later. So.
Well, now I'm not gonna watch.
No. Oh my gosh. Superman wouldn't let Crypto eat the squirrel. Come on. Supergirl, maybe.
So Superman loves everyone. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway. Do that. So you know, so obviously that's one of those meetings, you know, once I thought about it like more, I was like, oh well, it could really mean anybody, you know. Like anybody he talks to. And so and when it reaches the moment
that was out in the hall that he just passed by and said hello to.
Yeah.
Best friends.
Yeah, exactly. He loves absolutely everyone. And so, you know, but you know, of course, with her, spoiler alert, biting the dust by the end of the episode, it is definitely I thought it was a well done, like, you know, scene by the end of it. You know what I mean? Like it was a nice, like it was a really nice way of how they did it overall, and like,
and it wasn't, you know, just because like you could think of that it was like a, oh, she meant close, like vicinity, because she was standing right there. But no, it's like, as you guys were like saying, like, one, he really cares about everyone, but two, they did foster a good relationship in this episode.
They really felt for making you them have a relationship, even though they had like what 3-4 scenes, you know. Those were really good scenes. It's one of the reasons why like I
away like 3 times. But yeah, let's like talk more about that vision, because like it like that one vision. He saw it, and two, it terrified him.
Well, yeah, showing everyone's gravestone. You know, first Jonathan Kent, then you know Martha, Lana Lang, and it turns into everyone. He's surrounded by the gravestones of everyone that he normally talks to. And
did we see Lex's grave though?
I don't remember if we saw his. I'll look.
I don't think we did. Quick. I can't remember.
Because what does that mean? Because I know he saw Pete and Chloe and Lana and Jonathan and Martha. Does Lex not meet the cut? Or does it mean that he wouldn't, by the time it happens, he didn't. Okay, they didn't.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't mourn him.
Well, I don't think it means I want to mourn him, you know. You could always look at it as a closer.
Maybe Lex kills him.
I was going to say, that's the thing, is maybe Lex is what causes the destruction of Smallville. The other much darker thing that my mind first went to of what it could all mean is, obviously this wouldn't necessarily explain why Lex's gravestone isn't there. I didn't even think about that. Is that, you know, Superman's an alien. Inevitably he would, as far as we potentially know, it's one of those ideas that's been dabbled a little bit, is everyone would die before him. You know, we don't know how long of that Kryptonian, you know, how long a Kryptonian would survive in this world. You know?
Yeah, so like, this is like our first introduction, for at least in this world and with these characters, like the first introduction to that potential idea.
Yeah. And
I wonder if it is like, how long do Kryptonians live on their own planet, or is it just because of the solar radiation thing that like gives
there's a bunch of things, you know, it's good questions right there, you know. I don't know if we've ever gotten a solid answer as to how long Kryptonians live for normally. I'm sure that's been explored a bit. Were you saying that?
I was gonna say, on the take this with a grain of salt, but on the DC Comics Reddit, it says around 500 Earth years that they can live
on their own planet.
Oh, sorry, I don't know about their planet. Let me see, but on Earth for sure.
That's interesting. I wonder what comic backs that up, though, is the thing. Because when I first think of an older Superman, my mind, it's an Elseworld story, but my mind goes right to like Kingdom Come. But like in that story, it's a future story, but he's very much an older guy in that story, where everyone else is still older.
That's something I wanted to ask you as well. Another thing about the comics and how how it relates. Because I was watching this and I was wondering, it would really be an interesting idea to see the story of like what does happen after all these people pass, because it's going to happen. Like he's gonna lose. Like that. Like Lois is like his one true love of like every Superman story, and so like what happens after he loses her and like he moves on is there a story, is there a comic that really tells that story? Because the Kingdom Come story isn't that far into the future.
I don't know if they've told a story ever. I'm not saying that they haven't, but I'm not aware of one that has done something exactly like that. I'll have to look into that though, because I would love to find out if there's something like that.
Because what does he do? Does he like live forever alone?
We've seen the alternate of if Lois Lane dies, not if just Lois Lane dies, but if Metropolis gets blown up. We've seen that story with Injustice, but yeah,
the video game.
Yeah.
Is it just a video game or is it a comic?
The comics tie into it. So
okay.
The video game, the opening like cutscene shows the event where it all began, where it's Joker detonating and Metropolis gets blown up, nuked essentially, if you will.
What's he doing there?
Joker's a maniac. You don't question what Joker does. This is true. Anyway,
you can't let go of the past.
Yeah,
exactly.
But anyway, the comic though ties in. If I remember right, the game takes place 5 years after that event. Though the comic ties in where it's 5 years of that universe leading up to the game, and then the Injustice 2 comic ties in between the time of Injustice 1 and 2. I don't remember how many years Injustice 2 set off after 1, but. It's a dark universe. That's a. I don't know if you'd like that because you get like that's where you get evil Superman, like an actual evil Superman. So, messed up, but good stories though. I actually really like those games a lot. But anyway, but yeah, and with everyone dying, you're like in these gravestones. That's a potential possibility. Superman does become evil. Not everyone likes it though. I know some people that have issues with that version of Superman though. But point is that it's an alternate take, so.
But it is interesting here with Clark, his reaction to it is that he is like, because like you talk about like Superman caring about everyone, but he's afraid to make connections. He's like, well, if I'm going to lose everyone, I don't want to feel that pain, and he's like seeing the dark side of things, and like he could use like if he took this and went forward into his life thinking I can't have any connections, like he would not be the Superman we know. And so it's like Cassandra really helps him, and I just loved that later scene with them that she's like, I already knew you, Clark, before we met. Like I've seen you, like other people I've touched, I see they have so much pain and there's chaos, and then you're there and it's gone. Like this is an important episode for him. Because it's like the first real sign that this is who you're going to become. This is who you're supposed to be. But you have to choose to be that.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I'm starting to look into this whole Superman thing. If there's anyone that's in the far future, and I'm very curious about this now. I might not. But now's probably not the time to completely look into this though. I remind me after the show. I might go on a deep dive right after we go off air.
Okay.
So
We could go into our MVPs.
before we do that, I'd like to at least talk about the other
Oh, right, the other vision.
the
Oh,
other
with Lex.
vision, unless there's
Yeah.
anything else to talk about. Is there anything
No,
else that we have to talk about?
I did
Um,
want to say, if we're gonna go into that and then go into MVPs and stuff, I did want to say about the villain specifically. Like we've talked about that. We
Oh, yeah,
really
yeah.
like the actor and stuff, but I wanted to say that I think that he is the first villain on the show that has been legitimately scary. And I think the biggest reason is because he's human. Like the meteors didn't give him like super strength or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like he was like the scene where he's at the house with Martha and he gets inside and then he's chasing her.
Yeah.
Like that is like actually scary.
Or
Like, all these
also
people-
just how manipulative he is and at the nursing home after he gets turned back. You know,
Mhm.
like
Oh, I know, and he's
just-
like, "Oh, he's harassing me,"
I
you know.
know, it's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you son of a gun, you know.
Or like he uses his charm at the coffee shop when he's playing the piano.
Like that was scary.
It's like
I know that even got me when he pulled out like the wire. I was like, "Oh."
He played the role of like a legit serial killer, like
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that's part of the reason too. What makes it the scariest is not just because he's human, but it's also kind of like of all the villains, the most realistic of a villain. You know, like
Mhm.
you know, we have serial killers like that in real life. That you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
it's
he was
scary.
doing that
Relate
stuff. He
to
was
it.
doing that stuff before he even fell in the pond. So
yeah.
and I'm sure if he wasn't old in a wheelchair, he probably would still be doing it. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
100%. So it's wild.
Because
So
he can't let go.
no, cannot at all. So
All right.
but no, he played that role really well though.
Let's talk about Lex.
Let's talk about Lex's vision. Lex's vision was juicy, should I say?
Yeah.
That was quite the vision. And you know, I want to talk
Literally
about
killer.
I was gonna say it was so traumatizing, it literally killed her.
that's something else. I do find it interesting too that when Lex talked to her previously and he didn't want to do the vision, I found that very interesting that Lex didn't want to do it then. I thought that was a very interesting Lex moment because you would think that knowing like how we know Lex, that he would have done it, you know.
I think he's afraid.
He wasn't. Yeah, I think that's
I
very
think
fair to say.
Like he is so determined to not be his father's son, except he's so bad at not being his father's son because he's been molded into this. Like it is his entire personality. But I think he's like truly afraid that he can't escape his destiny of being this Luther, being this person that you hear the name Luther and
you know what I just noticed here? I didn't even notice this very first shot when I saw this though. Do you realize what this reference is? I believe the moment that's the
of him being
with him being
President Luther there.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
saw
cool.
that. I noticed that right away. I was like, "Oh,
yeah, that's one of those storylines that does happen with him being a president. One of those ideas explored, which is cool.
I mean, he looks good in a white suit. Not so much in a red suit, but he looks good in the white.
Yeah, he's being in the field of dandelions there.
I liked how after like hearing the vision where all the flowers die, and then when they stop the vision and the flowers in his hand have died and he like drops them.
Wait, the flowers in his hand?
Or they didn't die, but he dropped them because he saw them after the flowers died.
I didn't notice that link. Yeah,
and I think it, you know, it's kind of the analogy there. Of course, what you see with the skeletons is that he's gonna like mass destruction. You know.
Well, people. I mean, it's again, it's like abstract. It's like you can interpret it in many ways, except for the fact that so when I was first watching the scene, and by the way, when I think of this episode, this is the scene I think about. Like I don't remember. I hadn't remembered a lot about the rest of the episode. I mean, once I start thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's the one where the guy gets younger and goes on a killing spree. Like, I remember the piano wire for some reason. But this is the scene that, like, I totally... This makes this episode... Well, it doesn't make this episode, but it's
a huge part, though.
It's so memorable. But when I was watching it here, I forgot for a moment that he couldn't see what she was seeing. Because, like, with Clark, like, I feel like how Clark was reacting in the vision was exactly how he would be reacting internally in his own mind as he's seeing this vision. And maybe he was, like, fully there, like, seeing this in person. But for Lex, for a second, I forgot that he couldn't see it, because there's a point here where he's, like, seeing all the skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
And he smiles.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is he smiling?
Something...
Why is he smiling? But I forgot that this isn't the Lex that we currently know. And, like, he can't see that.
So I regret not saving a picture that I saw earlier, because, of course, now that I'm trying to find it, I can't find it. But this player, where I specifically have the thumbnail paused, or have the thumbnail for this episode, but also you all can see on screen here, is a... It's big. There's a couple things to break down. My bar blocks it, but he's holding a black glove. He's wearing a black glove, which is actually another comic reference later on, where in later iterations he wears a black glove because of...
It's because he gets kryptonite cancer, right?
Essentially, yeah, kryptonite poisoning, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's another detail there. So cool comic reference there that it gets into. But this shot in particular is huge. If you look at the top left, right there, you see that right there?
Yeah. That looks like Batman.
That's a Batman cowl right there.
Oh my god!
I never would have
known
noticed
that.
Not only that, but there's some other peculiar skeletons and stuff around here. Like, here's a something metal up here. I'm not sure what this is specifically. Here's a weird skull. So I think that's like a Martian Manhunter right there.
Oh.
If you look right here, that's a Green Lantern ring.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I've never known this. And there's over in the top left corner here, there's some sort of helmet.
Yeah, there's some other things I could possibly see. There's definitely something right there to the just over top right of Lex Luthor's head. I don't know what that is. Kind of something more metal. I don't know what that's meant to be specifically, but you can tell it's something. So yeah, there's some Easter eggs here showing death to a bunch of heroes.
Yeah, when you were showing me the screen cap earlier, I was like, okay, maybe that's a cape. Maybe that's Superman, but no, it's Batman.
It's Batman's cowl, which is...
You said we weren't here to talk about Batman, but he was in the episode.
He was in the episode.
Talk about him now, because he's in the episode.
Yeah. But yeah, no, when I was looking up immediately right after, I always try to watch these episodes a little bit, at least get them done by...
Man, that is so cool.
Right? Yeah, no, when I was trying to figure out what in the world to use as a screen capture for today's episode, I was and I looked up this episode, I saw a breakdown of somebody circling things and being well, this is obviously Batman. There's Green Lantern, there's a Martian Manhunter, and then they had 1 or 2 other circles, and that's what I was trying to find. Because I think they had an explanation for what this one is up there. I'm not sure whose metal thing that is. But
yeah, it's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, it's really hard to see, You got to think in mind, this is a show that came out in 2000?
I'm looking for Wonder Woman's sword or shield.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Is this
I might see it a little. I think I might see it. It's to the left of bottom left of mid left. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell what's maybe a bone or a sword.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Things are hard to see here, but yeah, that was really cool that they, what a fun way that Easter eggs here of this, bunch of heroes, a feature Lex,
Yeah.
I really need to get into reading some like Lex stuff that like when he like is actually president. I don't know if I've actually ever read any of the comics of him being president. Obviously I've seen it in other like media, but I don't think I've read an actual comic with him that way. So, but yeah, really cool. So that was the main thing. I was like really excited to actually show you all, see if you all
Thank
noticed
you.
any of that, because I didn't notice that when watching the episode either. And when you
I
think
actually
about
noticed it, but I was making sure y'all noticed it.
But I've been like uber fan for years, and like
it's like questioning
and
his
like
fandom now. It's
one
like,
of my good friends has like has relationships with all the actors, and he's been neighbors with two of them. Like
wow.
they lived in the same condo complex.
well, this shot in
And he
particular.
I don't know if he knows this. I should text
You'll
him.
have to ask him now.
That's a cool little trivia thing there now.
Yeah, it is really
Mhm.
neat. This shot in particular, though, it's definitely I had to get the right moment where you could pause it and see Batman, right, and all the other stuff here.
Mhm.
So it is really cool because any of the shots that's not that you can't see really well what's going on. But anyway, to finish up this
Yeah.
vision, it rains blood, and yeah,
Do
it
we
definitely a dark
wait?
vision.
There's a mountain behind him.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I know.
I don't know if
I
that's
know he
anything
was
in
like
particular.
I know he was like in field, but I'm like, is that like supposed to be like the Fortress of Solitude?
I don't think so. I don't know if that's meant to be anything
Yeah.
specific, but
Mm.
not to my knowledge. There.
Maybe it's just an aesthetic or
But
something.
and then that kills Cassandra. Rest in peace.
And he was
That was sad.
freaked out.
Mhm.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. I would be too.
Like, I mean, yeah, like how would you feel like her looking into my future literally killed her?
Yeah.
That's insane.
You can see the shock on him, like realizing like how bad is it.
Yeah, and just what a way to end when Clark rushes in and gets the confirmation she's gone, and that's just where it ends. Like that's just what a sad note. So and that's Hourglass.
Yeah, really good episode. That might
was a really good
be. I know we're only 6 episodes in, but that might be one of my favorites so far.
Yeah, I think
Easily.
I do think that's my favorite one so far.
Yeah.
I think it was the strongest villain. We had great character moments. Yeah. We didn't touch too much on it. We alluded to it earlier, but that moment with Lex and Clark.
With the car,
the car was really good too. Like that was a really good scene between the two. I know you alluded to it earlier with Lex starting to suspect Clark's superhuman ability a little bit, but no, I'm not quite connect the dots yet.
That scene and another earlier one, but first talk about that scene with the car. Like first off, I was like, whoa, he showed it to him at this point. I thought that would have happened much later, but it's like he was okay. I'll link this with the previous scene because Lex, like, we talk about like having something happen to you and whether or not you're going to choose to let it affect your life or not. And so, his thing with driving off a bridge and almost getting killed. And yet he's still driving around like a madman. And like Clark is like, why are you doing that? Look what happened before. And he's like, what could happen now? He's like, Lex is like, but I have you to save me, and he's just like, Clark was like, is he being for real? And he's no, he was, I think he's being totally for real. I think he like feels like nothing can happen to him because Clark will save him.
He almost feels like they have this impenetrable bond, like that Clark will just save him, like he could do anything and Clark will be there.
But he also like all of his actions so far have been, trying to like cement his relationship with Clark, and that he's like, Clark is special, and I need to be part of that. And so obviously he's like so suspicious that there's something about Clark, and he shows him the car, and he's like, there's no way that this could have been ripped off this way. And he's like, he like gives Clark an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, he like totally gives Clark the opportunity to tell him the truth. And I just wonder what would happen if Clark did tell him, like confided in him. Like, how different would things be, or would they not?
I think Lex would try to manipulate him to like join forces with him almost. Because then, you know what I mean? Like, if he was able to convince Clark to do all the things he wants him to do, that I think is like his goal, maybe. Or maybe try to convince him to be like co-partners or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Something we haven't really touched on is one of the reasons why Lex hates Superman is the fact that he's an alien, just like deep down, he just hates that it's, it scares him, that there's somebody this powerful that, sure, he has this good look, but as, one wrong action, like shown in the Injustice universe, and, that's what he's more scared of, is that sort of Injustice version, in some ways, and so
like a power he can't control.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we haven't really seen that motivation with this Lex, not yet, so I do think it'd be really interesting of like, obviously it won't happen, right? But like, if Clark was to have shared with him in that moment, would Lex still have that fear? So
yeah,
because that's something interesting. Because what I really like in Jeff Johns' Secret Origin story is like, you actually see Lex's sort of aversion early on to stuff like that. Versus here, we haven't gotten anything. So
yeah,
at least Clark. I mean, you could say like Clark isn't telling him because he like doesn't trust him, but Clark hasn't told anyone. His parents are the only people that know, and anyone else who has known has bit the dust. And poor Cassandra here as well, because she was like legitimately, genuinely a good person that wouldn't expose him and would just try to help him. But otherwise, everyone else.
Yep.
Yeah. Sounds. Yeah. No.
So,
definitely.
do we have MVPs? And I still think we should come up with a different name.
Yeah, we'll figure out. Like, we talk about this every week, and then we're like, "Oh, we should have thought on it," and then we didn't.
I mean, it's. I think it's pretty obvious, at least for me. It's Cassandra. Just like I said earlier. I mean, she's the core of the episode. Like think about how many of the people could have been killed if she didn't warn Clark first. Because Clark would probably have no idea, or by the time he thought of it, it may be too late. And so just what, and how she even changes Lex kind of at the end. You think about that. And she just seems nice. Like, I'd like to, talk with her. So yeah.
And she's smart. Like,
she is.
Like,
yeah.
she totally held her own in every scene. Like that first scene with Lex, where she actually, just the way she played that scene, like she was like really hitting all his buttons perfectly.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah.
Good choice.
I had to go first so that Spencer wouldn't take my choice. So.
Yeah. puts me in a little bit
We
of an
haven't
awkward
made it a
spot.
rule that we can't choose the
This is
same
true.
That's true. That's
This
true.
is true.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm taking the short route because I already had it in my head that Cassandra was mine as well. I mean, she was just such a great character. You know,
Yeah.
she, even though this episode's her only appearance, she made such a great, memorable appearance, I think. You know, and I what a great character. And you have somebody great that even if you've known her for like 5 scenes, you
Yeah.
feel something about her passing by the end.
Mhm.
Something, any source of media that makes you feel any sort of connection like that, even for something that's just 40 minutes long, that's how it's well done. And
Mhm.
so I just, have to just give kudos there. So
Agreed.
I did really like her character. And as we talked earlier, great actress. She played the good storyteller, or story, whatever role there.
She had a good arc for the.
Yeah, she did have a
that
good
she
arc.
was
Yeah,
in, yeah.
yeah. So she did a good job. So I really liked it.
So I mean, I'm not gonna choose her just because you guys did.
So she won't get the sweep.
No. I don't know. Well, I mean, I really do like her.
You're gonna pick the serial killer, like serial.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is that we're not like picking like the best
Morally.
do-gooder character.
Yeah.
Morally character. We're like talking about like who was the most interesting.
Right. Right. Like,
Yeah.
we had Lex before, or at least I had Lex before.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to give a shout out to Martha, specifically because she saves herself. Like, Clark did not save her from the killer. She saved herself, in quite a horrific way. Like, that's a bad way to go. At least Clark saved her from suffocating. But you notice he did not put any effort to saving that guy. Like, he could have, but he didn't.
Yeah, I really liked her in that scene.
Yeah. So I thought that was nice. That was like the first time that someone has saved themselves from the villain. I'll also point out that Lana was not in danger this episode. Like, she shared several scenes with the villain of the episode, but they had no interest in hurting her. If she had gotten in the way, maybe, but yeah.
Immersion ruined. I cannot believe that we didn't have her in distress this episode. You know what? Worst episode now.
Yeah.
Can't believe
and where
it.
was Whitney, huh? What was he doing?
Where was Whitney?
I know.
What's up with that?
She also, Lana also had a scene where she wasn't wearing pink. Like,
yeah, this is getting ridiculous. I mean, I don't think I can't commit with this show anymore.
Next thing you'll tell me that someone's gonna fly or something like.
Someone's gonna fly. Oh my god! We're gonna have people running fast. Like, what the heck?
Someone close to you is going to fly.
Oh no!
Hint: it's you, Clark.
Or is he just jumping really strong?
That's
there you go.
Really big. Who knows?
Just jumping and in slow motion at points where he hovers. Anyways, I think my MVP would be Lex. Like, I just thought that all the scenes with Lex were just really good, really deeply layered. Like, you could just kind of immerse yourself, and like things aren't like plainly spelled out. Like, there's a lot of like depth to his character and specifically to those scenes with him. And I just thought every scene with Lex was just another triumph, and especially the way it ended. So Lex gets my vote.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. I did love his stuff. Somebody's asking, I assume, what's up, Castro? Good to see you here. He's asking, is that a VHS tape collection in the back? Is that to Andrew? Or are you talking about what you see right over there? Because
if he's asking about me, it's DVDs and Blu-rays. But there is some VHS tapes there, just you can't see them.
when I was looking at it earlier, that's why I asked. I thought it was a bunch of VHSs.
Yeah.
And it's like, does Andrew even know what that is?
Yes.
Because I was watching
Yeah.
I was watching Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man earlier, and they had a
Oh.
movie night, and they
Yeah,
their
yeah.
movies were VHS tapes, and they were like confused about how the player worked. And I'm like, would that really be confusing for a teenager these days? I don't think so. Like, I could get them not knowing what it is, but
it's pretty self-explanatory.
yeah, it's like, okay, this goes in here. You push the button that says play.
Although I do know that there are some like young kids born nowadays that don't necessarily know what a DVD is because they've grown up with just streaming, and their parents don't have any. So,
yeah.
but rest assured, my kids will know what DVDs and Blu-rays are. So,
oh, good. Yeah, my mom and I were talking earlier about my new little niece. She's 7 months old, and we're just wondering, like, what is technology going to be for her when she's a teenager, and like what's going to be totally retro to her if she ever uses that word. But like, what will she not understand that?
Well,
like,
by the time she's a
it's part of
teenager,
our lives.
it'll be like in Spy Kids with the food, where it's in just like a packet, and you put it in the microwave, and then it's like a meal.
That would be cool.
We'll then you can say, back in my day, we had to warm up our food. We had to cook our food,
Yeah. Although, I mean, knowing my sister, everything in that house will be cooked. Do they have a microwave? Because my sister doesn't use a microwave, and I actually don't use a microwave anymore either. I haven't used one for like 2 years. Because like, stove is better. Like,
yeah, that's true.
The microwave like just destroys things. But yeah, I'm just like wondering, like,
or you'll just have like a thought and it'll happen with like the technology. Like you can like Bluetooth like with your brain or something. I don't know. Like a chip or something.
Like, instead of like telling the TV to turn on, you just think it won't be a TV, it'll be like in your eyes.
Yeah, it'll be like a huge because like TVs and phones only continue to get bigger. So where's the limit?
It's gonna be in our eyes. Like, you'll just turn on a movie in your eyes.
That's true. Honestly, it could be. Think about 50 years from now what technology could be like. It's crazy. Think what it was like 50 years ago, So
or
maybe we'll
like there's like, I think it's season 8 maybe of Smallville where they actually start to use like smartphones, like actual smartphones.
Spoiler.
But otherwise it's like none of these kids right now have a cell phone. Like, I think Chloe might. Maybe we've seen her have a cell phone so far.
I think
but
so.
Otherwise, because that was like another thing, like a couple episodes ago. No, it was the previous episode. That Pete knew that he saw the news about that kid being suspected of murder. But he didn't know that he would be meeting with Chloe, which would totally be part of their like group chat today.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how you would organize like a group thing back then. You didn't have group chats. I guess it was just word of mouth.
Yeah. I wonder what those old people did.
In the ancient times,
Like, oh man, so here's what we had to do.
Pass notes in class,
Well, 1, yes, pass notes in class. 2, you would have to call their house.
Oh, okay.
And you would have
on the landline.
On the landline, and you would have to potentially talk to their parents or their siblings to be able to get to them.
Which is a whole other challenge within itself.
I know, yeah.
It is. It's like a lot of social anxiety.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Or you would have to go to their house.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Still potentially deal with the parent or sibling, but yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, even worse. Yeah.
I was
yeah.
going to say, yes, even worse. At least on the phone, you can just hang up anytime.
Yeah. Especially if you
No.
get the
Instead,
dad, and the dad's gonna,
instead-
or the mom, they're gonna start asking all these questions.
Instead, it's run away and hope you survive.
exactly.
Oh. Anyway. Well,
Anyway,
that does it for an episode of Before the Cape, I think. This was a great episode though. Just talking about Hourglass. Next week we should be back talking about 2 episodes. What are those called? They're called Craving and Jitters. So we will be craving jitters next week.
It works better than X-Ray and Cool.
Yeah.
I
We're
think
craving-
X-Ray Cool sounds like a band name.
Yeah, but so does Craving Jitters in a way.
It really does, actually. I really see
Yeah.
that more of a band name, ironically.
Isn't
next-
their
Yeah.
coffee house called Jitters? No. Again, that's the Flash. Okay.
Okay. So
There you go.
there we have. I mean, it's the same universe, right? Well,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, sort of.
Same universe,
Not
different
not
city.
not the Flash you're thinking of particularly, but
Right,
Yeah.
right.
DC Universe. Hey, we saw a bunch of heroes get acknowledged this episode. 3 at least confirmed that we were able to spot.
Oh, I want to see if the Flash was there. Maybe if we can see like a
Was there a
lightning
Flash
bolt
wing?
Ooh, yeah.
or like
Yeah.
his helmet or something. Whatever he wears.
It would have been interesting because if they did the Flash, then it probably would have been the Wally West Flash since Barry was dead in the comics at that point. There's still another 5 years or so at least until they brought back Barry from the dead.
That is the Flash that Rosamund played. He voiced Wally West.
That makes sense because Barry wasn't the main one. He died back in Crisis. Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. Man, what a comic of it. That's a must-read comic right there. Highly recommend. And I think they're collecting like the entire event in those DC Finest things, which is reading that entire event. I don't know how many of those it would take to collect the entire event because that event, if you were to read it all the way through of like every single tie-in, is freaking massive. Anyway,
I think it was like more than 30 issues.
I think it's closer to like 100. Like it's
really
insane.
Let me look it up. We
gotta look at this really quick.
You guys do your ending spiel.
Yes. Andrew, where can we find you over the course of
Yeah.
this week?
Tomorrow night on the Came and Focus YouTube channel, we'll be going live at 9 p.m. Eastern to discuss both National Treasure films, which I'm really looking forward to. I rewatched both of them over the weekend, which has been a lot of fun revisiting them. I love those movies, so I'm really excited to talk about them. Over on the Feast of Fandoms YouTube channel on Monday night for MCU Monday, we're continuing our Jessica Jones reviews with season 2, episode 7, I believe. Thursday night on the Cantina Happy Hour, we're continuing our Clone Wars rewatch. I can't remember if it's an arc after Mandalore or if it's just a one-off. But if it's just a one-off, then that would be episode 14 of season 2. And then I'll be back here next Saturday as I will be craving jitters.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be great. So there's a total of 60 issues in the entire thing.
72 is what I have.
Well, hold on, are you looking on the app, right?
Yeah, and the apps, I looked at the storyline. It says 72 overall. There's 12 of the core.
Yeah, but if you scroll down and you look at the full storyline, it includes those core issues again and the full storyline thing.
Yeah, and it says right at the top, 72.
Yeah, because but it counts all the core issues twice, is what I'm saying.
It is?
Yeah, if you look at the full storyline, it includes that first issue again.
Fine.
So, it would be interesting to own sometime, all of that. It'd take a long time for me to read. That is a very juicy comic, let me tell you. Actually,
Sounds like it.
don't let me tell you. I actually did have 3 videos of that storyline, and that's just the main storyline of it up on my channel. Where I had my friend Lunga join us. When we first talked about it, it was a full 3 hours recording that it then broke up.
Wow.
So, and that was back when I actually took effort into a bunch of editing into my stuff. So that was a lot of time for me. Like, it took me forever to put those out. Obviously, I approach my content a bit differently now, but you should go check them out. We talked a lot about Crisis on Infinite Earths. That was quite the story, and Lunga was the guy to talk about that story. So, anyway, anyways, I will see you all later. What do I have coming out? Yesterday I released a new comic club talking about, honestly, probably one of the best DC stories I've ever read. Highly recommend. Wonder Woman Dead Earth is a fantastic Wonder Woman story. And kind of in a way actually heavily relates to something that we saw in this episode. So
interesting.
Yeah, you should go check it out. Story and art done by Daniel Warren Johnson, where his art is amazing. So
wait, who?
Daniel Warren Johnson. He's also done. He did the. He wrote and he did some of the art for the newest Transformers stuff. He also wrote and I think drew the I think it's the most recent Beta Ray Bill miniseries that came out from Marvel. He's done a couple indie stuff. He's done some creative projects of his own and stuff. So, like, anyway, you should go check that out, though. I love that comic. Me and Warren had a great time talking about it. Warren from Lunchbox Comics.
What is it called?
Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. I don't know if you'd like the story, but it is really good.
No, I
knowing
saw
your
it,
test.
I saw it on the app, and I was like, although I do like that she has Batman's belt.
Hey,
Yeah.
you should read the first, I don't know, 10, 15 pages, and you'll find out why. So,
and then I can stop.
or watch my video, and you'll find all about it there. Then, where we
Very
also
true.
go all into the story all in depth. So anyway, thank you for joining.
I'm subscribed now.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. 190. Yay.
Well, now that Ian's subscribed, he'll be able to watch.
Yeah.
Go get the notifications now.
Keep up to date. Oh no, I have all notifications turned off.
Never mind.
Anyway.
It's supposed to tell him new video out.
Barely. Anyway, hit that like and subscribe, everyone. I will see you all next time here in the Dingus Den. We'll be back next week for an episode of the Before the Cape where we're going to be craving jitters, everyone. Jitters, everyone. Bye.